Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're doing well. First off, this patch slipped out without a big announcement, so you might have already seen your console prompt you to download something without Sucker Punch publishing formal notes right away. Third-party outlets picked up the build number and reported it as an unannounced hotfix. What that usually means in practice is this. After a major update, and we just had a pretty significant wave of patches that added New Game Plus content, cosmetics, vendor systems, and more, developers will often do a tiny follow-up build to stomp on crash stacks, mission softlocks, and a few platform-specific weirdnesses players reported. The support page on Sucker Punch's site currently lists up through the prior patch, which supports the idea this is a narrow hotfix rather than a content drop with a full changelog posted immediately. Since the larger 1.100 and 1.101 updates were focused on adding New Game Plus and smoothing out how gear, vendor inventories, and replayable content behave, most of the fixes players have been talking about are tied to those systems. Items not appearing in vendor lists, odd behavior in the New Game Plus bamboo counter, rare trophy or die edge cases, and mission blockers that could stop progression. Those were the headline fixes in the earlier update, and the tiny 1.102 push looks like it's finishing a few leftover problems or addressing last-minute regressions players found after installing the bigger patch. From a player perspective, the effects are usually subtle but tangible. Fewer crashes while loading certain areas, missions that used to hang on advancing, firmly advancing, and vendor inventories behaving the way they were meant to. Especially for folks jumping into New Game Plus expecting cosmetics and upgraded gear to appear. Community threads have been full of folks comparing notes, some reporting that a previously missing cosmetic is now purchasable, others saying a rare soft lock they would hit in a specific mission no longer happens, which is consistent with hotfix behavior where the devs push a small build to fix a handful of reproducible issues. Technically speaking, there are a few categories of fixes that normally show up in these micro updates. Platform-specific crash handlers, save load autopath corrections, tweaks to vendor spawn logic or inventory flags, and small UI corrections like incorrect counters or missing icons. Because these are often either server-linked or patch-level toggles, studios sometimes push the build first and then publish detailed notes after verification, which appears to be the case here, given the timing and the lack of an official 1.102 entry at the moment. For context, remember that New Game Plus itself was the big addition in the most recent larger update. It brought higher difficulty tiers, a new currency and vendor options, replayable post-game encounters, and a whole suite of quality of life improvements like expanded photo mode options and accessibility tweaks. Adding those systems so soon after launch understandably opens a bunch of edge cases that only show up once thousands of players start replaying content in new configurations. That's textbook reasoning for why follow-up hotfixes arrive. So what changed at a practical level with this micro update? Expect incremental stability improvements across the board. A handful of rare crash fixes, corrections to New Game Plus counters, and vendor behavior, and repairs to a few mission soft locks that were cropping up for some players. If you were hitting a weird trophy or die issue tied to cross-save behavior, or seeing negative numbers in a progress counter, those are the sorts of narrow but annoying bugs this build was likely meant to address. Official patch notes will probably appear once the team confirms the fixes are holding up across regions, but community reports and the outlets that first picked up the build give a reliable picture of the patch's intent and scope. Overall, this is the kind of maintenance that makes replaying the game smoother and less frustrating, especially for players who are jumping back in with New Game Plus enabled or who are encountering rare mission blockers. Keep an eye on the official support page for the finalized notes, but if you've installed the update, you're probably already experiencing the main benefits. Fewer interruptions, cleaner vendor behavior, and a slightly more stable foundation for enjoying everything the recent content added.